Chances are, if you're subscribed to this channel or have had this video recommended to you, you likely have an above-average knowledge of geography. This means that many of the facts I'm about to share may already be familiar to you. However, for the average person who isn't particularly interested in geography, some of these facts might just blow their mind. Even if you have a strong interest in geography, you might find that a few of these facts catch you off guard, as they did for me during my research. Let's start with our first fact. Imagine the Panama Canal on a world map. For me, I always pictured it cutting through Panama from east to west, or vice versa. However, this isn't actually the case. The canal runs vertically through the country, from north to south. The man-made canal begins near the city of Colón in the north, and empties out into Panama Bay, not far from the capital, Panama City. Number 2. Finland is not part of Scandinavia. When people think of Scandinavia, they might assume it includes all these countries here. However, the term Scandinavia specifically refers to Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. It's not interchangeable with the Nordics, which does include Finland as well as Iceland. Number 3. The Sahara Desert is not the largest desert on Earth. I guarantee that if you asked 100 random people what the largest desert on Earth is, the vast majority would confidently say the Sahara. But technically that's incorrect. To be classified as a desert, a region must receive less than 10 inches of rain per year. Since it doesn't rain but rather snows in Antarctica, the Antarctic desert is by far the largest desert on Earth, being about 50% larger than the Sahara. However, when it comes to non-polar deserts, the Sahara is indeed the largest. Number 4. New York City is not the capital of New York State. If you asked 100 random people on the street, I almost guarantee that most would say New York City is the capital of New York State, as it seems like the most logical answer. However, the seat of the New York State government is in Albany, making it the state capital. Albany is located about 250 kilometers north of New York City, just west of the Massachusetts border. Number 5. It's fair to say that North Korea and Finland are very far apart, separated by nearly 7,000 kilometers. Most people would assume you'd have to travel through several countries to get from one to the other. However, it's entirely possible to drive from Pyongyang, North Korea to Helsinki, Finland, by crossing only one country, Russia. Number 6. If you were to ask most people what the closest country to Australia is, many would likely say New Zealand. However, that's not the case, as both Indonesia and Papua New Guinea are significantly closer. Number 7. Which city do you think is the largest within the Mediterranean region? You might assume it's a city in Greece, Italy, Spain, or France, but actually, the largest city in the Mediterranean region is Alexandria, Egypt. A city you might not initially associate with the Mediterranean, Alexandria has a population of just over 6 million. The next largest is Barcelona, with a metro population of around 5.5 million, which also hosts the headquarters for the Union for the Mediterranean. Number 8. When you think of Pacific Islands, you probably envision tropical paradises full of palm trees and coral reefs. But not all Pacific Island chains look like that. Take the Aleutian Islands, located off the coast of Alaska in the North Pacific. These islands are mountainous and can get quite chilly with snowfall, ice, and even icebergs. Number 9. The UK, England, and Great Britain are not interchangeable terms. Living in the UK, this is common knowledge for me. However, I've lost count of the times I've had to explain the differences between these terms while traveling abroad. The UK is a sovereign nation composed of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is the landmass that includes England, Wales, and Scotland. It is not a country, and England is just one country within the UK. This means that British and English are also not interchangeable terms. Being English means you're from England, while being British can mean you're from Wales or Scotland as well. Number 10. The Sahara Desert is not the driest non-polar desert on Earth. That title goes to the Atacama Desert in South America, which receives only about 0.6 inches of rainfall per year, significantly less than the Sahara. Some parts of the Atacama haven't seen rain in over 500 years. Number 11. Although the Dead Sea is perhaps the most well-known salty body of water, it's not the saltiest. With a salinity level of around 33%, the Dead Sea is indeed very salty. But the Don Juan Pond in Antarctica is even saltier, with a salinity level of approximately 44%. Number 12. Although the Himalayas are home to the world's tallest mountain, and arguably the most famous mountain range, they are not the longest. The Himalayan mountain range stretches about 2,500 kilometers across Asia, while the Andes in South America extend some 7,500 km, about 3 times longer. Number 13. Even though the US is by far the richest country in terms of GDP and its currency is used globally, the US dollar is not the world's strongest currency. At the time of making this video, it actually ranks 10th, with the Kuwaiti dinar holding the top spot. $1 will get you about 0.31 dinars. Number 14. This is another misconception I've encountered many times, especially while traveling through South America. Many people assume that Mexico and Central America are part of South America. It seems logical since they are culturally and linguistically tied to the continent. However, all 8 countries in this region, along with those in the Caribbean, are actually part of North America. In fact, the northernmost parts of Mexico are farther north than many major U.S. cities like Miami, Orlando, or Houston. Number 15. Although the Portuguese live a very Mediterranean lifestyle, Portugal is not a Mediterranean country. The climate, food, and culture are very Mediterranean in style, but the country does not border the Mediterranean Sea. It lies to the west and southwest of Spain and only has a coastline along the Atlantic. Number 16. Although Venice is perhaps the most famous canal city on Earth, it doesn't have the most canals, nor the longest. For instance, both Birmingham in England and Amsterdam have more canals. Number 17. The Amazon is not the largest forest on Earth. Although it's perhaps the most famous forest, it's nowhere near the largest. It is the largest rainforest, but the title of the largest forest on Earth goes to the taiga, which stretches across North America, Europe, and Asia, covering some 17 million kilometers squared, almost 3 times the size of the Amazon. Number 18. Of the 50 U.S. states, which do you think has the southernmost point? If you picture the map, you might say Florida, and you'd be correct for the contiguous states. But if you include Hawaii, then the southernmost point is actually found there. Number 19. Picture Mexico on a world map. For me, South America seems to sit pretty much directly below it. However, this isn't true. Mexico is located farther west than the entire South American landmass. Another surprising fact until you look at a world map. Number 20. The UK is commonly referred to as a Western country, meaning it's in the Western Hemisphere. However, since the Prime Meridian runs straight through London, this means that parts of England, like Cambridge, Norwich, and Dover, are actually in the Eastern Hemisphere, the same hemisphere as cities like Beijing, Tokyo, or Jakarta. Number 21. Mont Blanc is arguably the most iconic and famous mountain in all of Europe, and it's also quite tall. Most people would likely assume it's the tallest on the continent, but in fact, it's neither the tallest nor the second tallest. The tallest is Mount Elbrus in Russia, followed by Mount Shkara in Georgia. Number 22. The Northern Lights are one of the greatest wonders of our planet, and those who live up north must be so lucky to see them, right? But it's not just those in the northern parts of the world who get to witness this wonder. The Southern Lights, or Aurora Australis, can be seen across parts of Australia, New Zealand, and Antarctica, to name a few places. Number 23. Which US state do you think has the most islands? Most people would probably say Hawaii, but there's actually a state with about 20 times more islands. Any guesses? With approximately 2,670 islands, Alaska has by far the most, which isn't surprising given that it's also by far the largest state. Number 24. When you think of Siberia, you likely think of freezing cold, harsh conditions. But the region can get very hot in the summer. The highest temperature ever recorded in Siberia was 38 degrees Celsius in June 2020. Number 25. Although the term 7 seas has been used throughout history, there are far more than 7 seas in the world. A sea is effectively a part of an ocean that is surrounded by land, and there's no defined number. Some sources claim there are around 50. At 5.5 million kilometers squared, the Philippine Sea is considered the largest. Number 26. When you picture Greenland, you likely imagine it covered in ice, snow, and glaciers, which is mostly accurate. However, some parts of the island, especially along its southern coast, are ice-free, such as the Kingwa Valley, where you'll even find forests. Number 27. Although Cyprus is more culturally and politically linked to Europe and is literally part of the European Union, it is geographically part of Asia. This means that technically, the people there could be considered Asian. Number 28. Believe it or not, Europe actually has a desert. The Tabernas Desert can be found in southeastern Spain. Although it's small, covering just 280 kilometers squared, it is still classified as Europe's only desert. Number 29. It makes sense to think that all EU countries use the euro, and for the most part, that's true. However, 7 countries do not use this currency: Bulgaria, Croatia, Denmark, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Sweden. The other 20 do. And finally, number 30. Here's another hard-to-believe fact. Visualize a world map in your head and think of where Cairo and Miami are located in their respective countries. Surely, Cairo is farther south than Miami, right? Actually, no. Cairo is slightly farther north than Miami. So there you have it. 30 geography facts that most people would probably get wrong. If any of these facts caught you by surprise, let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more geography content. And as always, thank you very much for watching.